Namaskar everybody and welcome to our 7th day of the Navaratri Satsang. So we are continuing in this series of Navavidha Bhakti. So let us start with the prayer. Let us do Prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Shri Krishna, we have all assembled for this Navaratri Satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the things which will help us to grow spiritually. So let us say the shloka. मानातीत प्रतित विभवां मंगलम मंगलानां वक्षः पीठीं मधुविजयिनो भूषयन्तीं स्वकान्त्या प्रत्यक्षानुश्रविकमहिमप्रार्थिनीनां प्रजानां श्रेयो मूर्तिं श्रियमशरणत्वां शरण्यां प्रपद्ये यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्म व्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. So with prayers at the feet of the Acharya, let us continue with our topic for today. So in Navavidha Bhakti, so far we have seen on day 1 Shravanam, on day 2 we talked about Kirtanam, then Smaranam, then Padasevanam, then Archanam, and today we have then Vandanam yesterday, and today we have to talk about Dasyam. So Dasyam means becoming a servant of the Lord, serving the Lord through the Dasya bhava, realizing that I am nothing but a servant of the Lord and He is the master. So this has been exemplified by many great souls before, and 3 examples that we can take are those of Lakshmana, Hanuman and Shatrughna also. About Shatrughna we will talk a little later, but for now let us talk about Lakshmana and Hanuman. So we all know about the events in the Ramayana, how when Rama sets out to go to the forest for the Vanavas, Lakshmana insists that he will go with him. And in fact, Sumitra tells her son that this is the day for which I gave birth to you. Go wherever Rama goes. Think that Rama is your father, Sita is your mother, and serve them. And the place where Rama and Sita are, that itself should be Ayodhya for you. Now, when Sumitra tells this to Lakshmana, but Rama himself says, no, you stay back. You stay in Ayodhya and take care of our parents and do everything here. Lakshmana says, no. And there is a particular place where he says, Aham sarvam karishyami. I will do everything for you, O Rama, you and Sita Devi. For you, I want to do seva. And that is why I want to come to the forest with you. So, through all the events that unfold when they are in the forest, we see how Lakshmana unfailingly, unflinchingly performs so much of seva. In fact, he gives up sleep for all those 14 years that they were in the Vanavas. And there is popular story which tells about how when Nidra Devi came to Lakshmana on the first night that they were in Vanavas, he bows down to her and he says, please leave me alone. Though I will not give in to you for these 14 years. And it is said that Nidra Devi said, okay, then to whom do I go? So Lakshmana says, you go to Urmila, my wife, and she will, sleep for my share of the sleep also. Whatever it is, that goes to show us how strong was his dedication to do seva of Rama. Now, that kind of a bhava will come only when you feel that the other person is the master and I am his servant. In our world today, whatever life we lead, we think of so many other people as our masters, isn't it? If we are working somewhere, we consider our boss to be the master and we try to sometimes do things to please them. That is at the worldly level. But in reality, who is the master? It is the Lord. He is the one who has all the supreme power. So, like Lakshmana, we should cultivate these qualities of Dasya Bhava. Now, in another place, at the time when Rama and Lakshmana, they are walking along in search of Sita, and then Hanuman comes there to find out who they are, because Sugriva has seen these two people and sent Hanuman to find out who are these people. So at that time, when Hanuman asks for their introduction, who are you? Then at that time, Lakshmana says, how Lakshmana introduces himself? He says that I am Lord Rama's brother, but he says that later. What he says first is Gunai Dasyam Upagata. I am a dasa of his because I know the value of his gunas. Seeing his gunas, I am his dasa. That I am his brother is secondary. What is the primary role that Lakshmana has taken upon himself? To be the dasa of Rama. That is how he introduces himself. Coming to the next example of Hanuman, we have seen how Hanuman follows every single wish of Lord Rama. And many times Hanuman uses his intelligence in such a way that he can do the task in a very effective manner. So that is how a dasa should be. So in fact, when Hanuman goes to Lanka as Ramaduta, he is gone there to find Sita Devi and to convey the message to her that Lord Rama will come. When he goes there, he is not satisfied with just having conveyed the message. He decides that it would be good for me to try and find out what is the strength of this enemy so that we can get prepared and we know what is it that we have to encounter here. So he says that Lord Rama would have expected that a Duta will find out all this information. So with that in mind, he goes, he lets himself be captured and he enters into the court of Ravana. And as he enters into the court of Ravana, just 1 minute, please. Yeah. So as he is asked in that court, when Ravana asks him, "Tell me your identity. Who are you?" he asks, and at that time, this Hanuman says he could have said so many things, isn't it? We know the glory of Hanuman. He could have said that I am the 11th Rudra. He could have said that I am the disciple of Surya Deva. He could have said so many things to quote his identity. He could have said I am Vayu Putra. He could have said I am a very learned scholar. But he didn't say any of that. What did he say? He said Dasoham Kosalendrasya. I am the Dasa of Kausalendra. I am the Dasa of Ramachandra. This is the identity that Hanuman carried with him. So from this we can make out how Hanuman's entire identity, Lakshmana's entire identity was centered around the theme of being the Dasa of the Lord. So that is what is Dasya Bhakti. So why we must practice this Dasyam? Now, the concept is that the Lord, He is the Paramatma. He is called as the Seshi, and the Jivatma is called as the Seshan. So the Lord is the Supreme Master, and this Jivatma is subservient to the Lord. He is a servant of the Lord. The good example for this is Adishesha, who is the form of Ananta, on whom the Lord is reclining. Now this
அப்படியா பார்த்தே இல்லப்பா பொண்ணு கொண்டு
Now this Ananta serves as an umbrella for the Lord. You remember when there was the Krishna Avatara. Then at that point of time when Vasudeva takes Krishna in the basket and he is carrying him and going across to Gokula, then at that time this Adishesha arrives there and stands with his hoods over the basket so as to be able to protect the baby. So Adishesha is serving as the umbrella there. He also serves as a throne for the Lord because the Lord is sitting on him at all times. I just want to know, are you able to hear me or is the other sound coming out too loud? Is there a disturbance?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, okay, because there is some procession or something which is going on the road, I think. which is making a lot of noise, and I'm not really sure if you're able to hear me over that noise.
No, we are able to.
You
It's
are
very
able to
clear.
hear. Fine. Then I will continue. If it's getting too much for me to talk only. We'll just pause for a while. Sorry about that disturbance. So we were talking about Adishesha, how he served as the umbrella in the Krishnavatara when the baby Krishna has to be taken in the basket across the Yamuna. Then it is pouring, the rain is very heavy, and at that time Adishesha covers that basket and serves as the umbrella. Then always we have seen the Lord is sitting on Adishesha. So he is the throne, he is the couch, he is the pillow, right? Then there are manis in the head of Adishesha, and those manis throw a divine glow, and that is why he also serves as a lamp. And then he is also serving as the Paduka for the Lord, because the Lord is placing his feet on him. So this way, Adishesha serves in all manners possible. So every single activity of Adishesha is geared towards being a dasa. So in that same way, this quality of being the dasa of the Lord is called as Sheshatvam. So actively we must perform all the activities, whatever we want to do, as Kainkaryam, as Seva, in the spirit of Lakshmana. Then there is also the spirit of Bharata. Now we say, the Acharyas say that Lakshmana, what he did, he said, I want to do seva, and he insisted on going with Rama to the forest, and he did everything as seva. So that is definitely a good quality. The other quality which is exemplified by Bharata, that is the quality of Paratantriam, that is being totally dependent and following nothing except the Lord's will. So he has no will of his own. When he went to the forest to bring Rama back, but when Rama said, "No, you rule the kingdom," then at that time, Bharata, in that spirit that he will abide by whatever Rama is telling, at that time he followed that. So that also is the spirit that a dasa should have. That we must be ready to follow whatever it is that the Lord wills. And when we do this continuously, we will be able to lose the sense of doership. The ownership of activities will go away. And whatever we have expectations that some fruit should come for this work, what I am doing, that expectation will also go away. When we do seva, we must do it with the bhava that we are doing this seva for the joy of the Lord. Doing something by expecting something out of it is one level, but doing something because it is giving me joy is the next level, but doing something because it is going to give joy to the Lord, that is the ultimate level. So that is how we must do our seva. I'm sorry, I'll have to pause again, it's become too loud, the noise. So the next idea is that now we talked all along, we talked about how we must try and actively perform seva. That is the quality of a dasa. Now, many times what may happen is it can be difficult for us to be dasa of the Lord. So in that case, the greater quality is to be a dasa of the Lord's dasa. So in the Mukunda Mala, there is a shloka where the king who composed this, the Alvar who composed this, Kulashekar Alvar, he says, Majjanmana phalamidam madhukaita bhare, mad prarthaniya madanugrah esha eva, Tvadbhritya Bhritya Paricharaka Bhritya Bhritya, Bhrityasya Bhritya Itimam Smaralokanatha. So I'm sorry, I forgot to put the meaning of that here in the slide. What it means is that I will consider that my life has been fruitful, right? When, O Madhukaitaba, that is, he is addressing Lord Mukunda, I will consider that my life is fruitful if you think of me and you grace me. Why? Because I am the servant of 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 your servant. So 7 times he uses this word servant. That means he's saying that I don't want to be your dasa, but I want to be dasa of your dasa of your dasa of your dasa, and like that 7 times removed, I want to be your dasa. And you must think of me well because I did seva for somebody who was your dasa's dasa. So what are we trying to convey by this? For all of us, it is difficult to get an opportunity to do actual seva of the Lord directly. But we can definitely find people who are servants of the Lord, those who are bhaktas, those who are called as bhagavatas. So we may not find Bhagavan himself to do seva directly always, but we can definitely find bhagavatas, those who are servants of the Lord and those who have lot of bhakti for the Lord. To such people, we can offer our services. That is the way to proceed in our Dasya Bhakti. So there are many examples of how we can practice Dasyam. Now, I said we will talk about Shatrughna, isn't it? Now, throughout the Ramayana, we find that there are hardly any mentions of Shatrughna. Very little is told about him. And yet, the Acharyas say that Shatrughna exemplifies a very important quality. Now, why is he called as Shatrughna? In the Valmiki Ramayana, it is told he is called as Anagha. Anagha means somebody who is without a single blemish. So Shatrughna is called as Anagha. Why he is called as Anagha? Because he did not have any one quality also which would, somebody can find a fault with. So why is he called Shatrughna? Throughout the Ramayana, we have seen that there is Rama who is fighting against Rakshasas, there is Lakshmana who is fighting against Rakshasas, there is uh, maybe even conflict that is going on at all times. But Shatrughna, we don't hear him about fighting. We hear about him fighting any Rakshasas. Only at the end, somewhere, there is some Rakshasa called Lavanasura who is in the place called Mathura, and there he goes and destroys. Then why is he called Shatrughna? Because he has overcome the inner Shatrus. We have heard of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madha, Matsarya. Like this, all these Shatrus he has overcome. That is one idea. The second idea that is told by the Acharyas is now for Lakshmana, it was very easy to serve Rama because Rama is the Lord himself. So naturally, the Lord is perfect. So serving the Lord is not at all difficult, isn't it? Because you have perfection in front of you. But what about Shatrughna? Whom did he serve? He served Bharata, and Bharata was the Dasa of Lord Rama. So, like we saw in that shloka, he is Shatrughna is the servant of the Lord. So that is the quality that Shatrughna has. So actually, sometimes the acharyas say he has also overcome the Shatru of wanting to do service to the Lord. So wanting to do service to the Lord is very good, but it is easier compared to doing service to a human being because a human being will always have faults in them. They will have some or the other quality which we can find and criticize. So that if you are able to do that with complete surrender, then that is the superior quality, and that is why Shatrughna is praised by the acharyas. Although nothing much has been written about Shatrughna in the Ramayana, this quality that he had is the reason why he is called as Shatrughna, the destroyer of Shatrus. In fact, a story is told. I may have mentioned this before also in some previous satsang, where when Bharata goes to his mama's place, Shatrughna goes along with him. So the astrologers are looking for a favorable date on which they should do their journey. So when Bharata's nakshatra has been found, then they say, okay, now we will search for Shatrughna. So at once Shatrughna stands up and says, please don't find any nakshatra for me. They say, why? What is the problem? So he says, no. If somebody is going on a journey and they are carrying their luggage along, do you see nakshatra a good time for the luggage? You don't. So I am like the luggage of Bharata. Bharata is the one who is important, and I have no identity at all. Just like Bharata goes, I will go like part of his luggage. So that was the spirit of Shatrughna. So from that we can try and pick up the attitude that we must serve those who are the dasa of the Lord. The other example that is told we can talk about is that of Kadambi Achan. So Kadambi Achan was one of the disciples of Swami Ramanuja. So Swami Ramanuja was trying to bring about a lot of reform in the Sri Rangam temple. So at that time when he was trying to carry out these reforms, there were obviously some people who were not happy with it. So those people, one day, they forced one lady. Now Swami Ramanuja used to go and do uncha vritti. That is, they have to procure food only by begging alms. A sannyasi has no right to store anything and to cook and eat. He has to take alms and then he has to survive on that. So that was his practice. So as he was going, one lady who used to regularly give him the food, they forced her to poison the food and give it to him. So she knew that the food was poisoned. So when she put that food into Swami Ramanuja's patra, she put it a little aside, and then there were tears flowing down her eyes. So she was indicating by this, and Swami understood that there is something wrong with this food. So he discards that food and he does not eat it. And then he decides that from now onwards, I will not beg for alms, I will just try and survive just like that. So naturally, he becomes very weak. Now, hearing of this incident when he was tried to be poisoned, his Acharya comes to meet him. And when his Acharya comes to meet him, then Swami also rushes. And on the banks of the river Kaveri, in that hot, blazing sun where the sand of the river is so hot, Swami Ramanuja falls down to offer obeisance to his Guru. At that point of time, it is normal for the person who is offering the prostration will not rise up until the Guru has commanded that, yes, please stand. So Swami Ramanuja kept, he stayed in that prone position. He was just, offering his obeisance and he was fallen there. Now, Guru is not telling him to get up. At that time, this Kidambi Achan was watching all this. He is a disciple of Ramanuja. He has no authority to question Ramanujacharya's Guru. And yet, he is so affected. He says, and so what he does is he rushes forward and he puts his body under the body of Ramanuja and he talks to the Guru and he says, Swami, please ask Ramanujacharya to wake up, to get up and stand up. How long will he tolerate this hot burning sun? Will he not be hurt by this? Please ask him to rise. At that time, the Guru tells, you, Kadambi Achan, you are the person who is just the right person to serve Ramanuja. I was just doing this. I wanted to test and see who is the person out of all his disciples who has so much love for the master. Who is it that thinks that the master is everything, the Guru is everything, and you have passed this test. So from now on, I command that you will take care of the kitchen in the matha and you will cook, and whatever you cook only Ramanuja should eat. So that was the greatness of this Kidambi Achan. Now he had been given such a lofty position by the Guru's Guru himself, right? And yet one day when everybody was sitting and the prasadam was to be served, at that time Kidambi Achan was serving water. Now, at those times, there was no option of giving water in a cup and all those things. So they would pour the water through a vessel which had a spout-like thing, and that water would be poured directly into the mouth of the person or into the hands of the person. So when he was doing that, then at that time, as he was pouring, he was standing by the side of somebody and pouring. Immediately, Ramanujacharya comes there and hits him on the back and says, what is this you are doing? If you pour from the side of the person, they will not be able to drink properly. Stand in front of them and pour. So at that time, Kadambi Achan tells him, he falls at the feet of Ramanujacharya and he says, thank you so much for correcting me. I was making a mistake. And by your divine mercy, you have noticed what I am doing wrong and you have corrected me. Henceforth, I will do just as you say, he says. So from this, we can see that although he had such a great position, he was not, proud of it. That humility, that dasya bhava, that feeling that Ramanujacharya, my acharya, is the master and I am just his servant and I have to only follow his bidding. That kind of a bhava Kidambi Achan had. Other example we can talk about is that of a gardener devotee, not a farmer devotee. So this Sauta Madi, he's called as in Maharashtra. He was a great bhakta of Panduranga, and he used to keep doing all the work in his fields, and he always used to do all the work as if it was the work of the Lord. So he never had time to go to Pandharpur. He never had the luxury to go on a Tirth Yatra. But the spirit which he cultivated was that whatever he did as if it was for Vithala. So when he was tending to his crops, he would keep singing the praises of the Lord. Whatever work he did in the fields, he would keep doing it thinking it is of the Lord. And in fact, he used to tell people that if you are not able to go to Pandharpur, never mind. Vittal will come wherever you are. You keep doing the work and you keep remembering him. Once there was a time when some people were jealous of him, and because they were jealous of him, they wanted to, purposely create some obstacle. So they said that in the middle of this field, we want to build a temple. Now, Sautamali was very upset. But you know why he was upset? Not because that field is mine and they are going to build a temple in the middle. He said, this field belongs to Vitthal. This field is of Pandharinath. How can you come and build a temple here without his permission? So that was the spirit of this Sautamali. So that way, we also can try and cultivate these kind of a Dasya Bhava within us. So now let us move on to discuss what are the ways in which we can adopt this in our life. Firstly, we can try to be actively involved in serving the Lord or his devotees. Wherever there is an opportunity for seva, whether it is in my house, during some spiritual program, whether it is offering service to somebody who is a bhakta of the Lord, all that we must try and do as much as possible. The second thing is that whatever we can do the service of the Lord, we must try and do it in three ways, through three modes. It could be Sharirik Seva, it could be Vachik Seva, it could be Manasik Seva. Sharirik means physically, with the body, what we can do, we must try and do. Verbal means, Vachik means verbal, whatever with our mouth we can do, through our words we can do, that way we should serve the Lord. And mental seva, manasik seva means with the mind what we can do. So physically we can do seva. If there is a temple in our area, we can go there. We can clean the temple. In our own house, we can keep our puja room clean. We can put rangoli there. To the temple in our area also we can go. We can put rangoli there. We can help the archakas in whatever small way we can. We can bring items. We can supply things to them. Right? We can do all that. We can prepare the items for worship in our house, whether it is grinding the chandan or cooking the food which is to be offered as naivedya. All this we can do. This is all what we do physically. Verbally, what we can do, we can sing the glories of the Lord. We can always keep chanting his name. We can do kirtan and we can talk to other people about the wonderful pastimes of the Lord. By that, our bhakti will also increase and they will also be benefited. The third thing we can do is mentally, we can always think, smarana, think and remember his qualities. And that also is a form of service of the Lord. The other aspect is that we must learn to see everything in this world, all the living beings in this world, as forms of the Lord. They are also a manifestation of the Lord. So, having the attitude of ahimsa, not killing animals for our joy, not eating food which is from the animal which has been killed, doing seva to the animals. If there is a goshala somewhere, we can serve there, we can help in some way, we can buy their products so that the goshala is supported. We can be compassionate to the animals. There is some stray animal near our house, we can put food for it to eat, like this. Then taking care of the environment, not damaging the environment, all these are also forms of service that we can perform. Whenever we have to make a decision, right? We always rush into things, or even if we are thinking and going about our work, then we don't realize that it is actually the Lord who has to make the decision, or He is the one who has to guide us. So whenever we have to make a decision, we can pause and we can pray to the Lord for guidance and say, "You please guide me about what is right. You please guide me to do that which will make you happy." So when we pray like this, we will gradually get to the stage where we realize that all things happening are because of the Lord. Any activity that we do, we must also cultivate the habit of being in the background and not wanting any kind of appreciation for our role. So, what happens is, I heard somebody in a lecture once talking that everybody wants to be a boss, nobody wants to be a das. That is the entire problem wherever there is conflict. So let us try, now that we know the importance of Dasya Bhakti, whether it is for God or it is for anybody else, let us try and cultivate the habit that we will try to be a Das. We will try to be in the background. We will not seek appreciation for whatever it is that we are doing. We will in fact praise other people, but for ourselves, we will not want any praise. So when we do with this kind of an attitude, then it is likely that we will also somewhere start having this attitude of being a dasa. It is very difficult to have this because all along everybody has told us that you must be independent, you must think on your own, you must decide what is best for you. And this kind of a swatantriam is what is cultivated into all of us. But what we have to cultivate is the attitude of paratantriam, being dependent on the Lord, realizing that nothing I can do, no step I can take without the Lord's grace. Whatever even I think that I have done something and by my ability this has happened, right? Even that in reality, it is only by the grace of the Lord that it is happening. So we must try and cultivate that kind of an attitude by constantly listening to the stories of such bhaktas. There are so many more stories which tell us about the different ways in which so many bhaktas have done seva of the Lord. So we can try and find that attitude, and with that we will be able to do this dasya bhakti in an effective way. So with that, we will stop here for today. There has been too much disturbances all around in the sound. I hope that God will bless us and not give these disturbances in the next class. So we will stop here with Kritagnyata. Let us offer gratitude at the lotus feet of Mata Mahalakshmi, Sri Krishna and Guru for inspiring us to start and join this satsang. And let us pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. Namaskar. Thank you so much for joining in. We will again meet tomorrow evening at the same time at 8 p.m. Thank you and namaskar.